You might have heard a couple cliches or even said some in your life, but have you ever stopped to actually think about them? Within each cliche, there's a bit of wisdom. It's like good wine in an old bottle. At first, it might not seem like much, but once you get into it, it's full of value. The first few words of a cliche hit our ears, and before the sentiment has even left someone's mouth, our brains fill in the statement and tune the rest out. However, cliches are like life lessons that have just lost their flavor. We've heard them so many times that the sentiment just kind of becomes trite. So why do people use them? Because they're preloaded responses we can use in certain situations and circumstances. And they still retain some sense of relevance even if they are bland on the brain. They're NPC lines, without context. However, there is a better way to use them, where we can actually extract knowledge from them, and wisdom can be gained and also shared. This isn't to make me sound all wise and knowledgeable, but to give you something that I've found to have a lot of utility in life. The problem with cliches isn't that they aren't useful, it's that they don't seem valuable. Because they're used so often that they don't strike us as rare and profound in the way that they actually are. Truth be told, cliches survive as long as they do, actually because they have insight and good information in them. In their best context, they're a compressed version of reality that actually has wisdom embedded in it and a solution to a problem that has been around for as long as the cliche itself. The only problem we have is that cliches often sound a lot like Shakespeare. Doth thou comprehend thine prose put upon yonder cliche? So if we upgrade them to a modern vernacular, they actually become a bit easier to understand, both the meaning and the utility. Most people throw around ignorance is bliss in a way that means the less you know, the happier you are. Because a lot of times, knowing more, anything, means more choices. And more choices means more responsibility. So less choice, less responsibility, more happy. Within there is some wisdom, and it's that discernment helps you understand what really matters and what doesn't need your attention. In essence, you can think of ignorance is bliss as kind of the opposite of the fear of missing out. You're not driven by the anxiety. You're not driven by what ifs. You're resolved in your decision. Personally, I like to use this one a little bit differently though. Ignorance is bliss to me is especially useful whenever I encounter a new idea or even something I disagree with. In those moments, I turn to ignorance as bliss. I imagine I'm almost like a child. I don't know anything. And so if I encounter something that's a new idea or something I disagree with, and I put myself in the state of that child that doesn't know anything, then I can learn whatever it is that I'm encountering from a completely open-minded perspective to understand it as best as I possibly can. And in doing this, I can see things from someone else's point of view or gain information much easier rather than trying to impose my own meaning on the idea that I'm being presented with. Same thing can happen with it is what it is, where it's used simultaneously as a resignation letter from life's difficulties and an acceptance speech for life circumstances. It's like, oh well, but with more syllables. While there is a lot of wisdom in accepting the things that we can't control, sometimes we can't just walk away from them. Sometimes we end up in situations where it is what it is just doesn't cut it. Where the only way out is through, and that's where I've found it can't be cured, but it must be endured to be more beneficial. It's great for those I have to get through this moments in life where it is what it is just feels self-defeating. And if you want to go a step beyond that, there's this ascended master mode where you can tell yourself, it is what I choose it to be. It's a reminder that no matter what happens, you choose from the sanctum of your own mind how to interpret and understand and respond to the events. The responsibility and the choice is all yours. Another one you might have heard, and my grandma's personal favorite, is a leopard can't change its spots. which generally means that a person is defined by their characteristics and they cannot alter them in any way. Normally, negative. And that would make sense for a leopard. They have pretty easy to detect patterns and behaviors, and their capability for decision making is low and primal. My grandma's right. A leopard can't change its spots. But you know what else they can't do? They can't cook a delicious meal, they can't do taxes, and they can't click buy now on Amazon. They can't go through the drive-thru at McDonald's, they can't commit tax fraud, and they can't show some sort of self-discipline to stop ordering all of these things because the boxes don't actually fill the void inside. It takes real hard work and discipline to do that, and we owe it to ourselves to do it, and leopards can't. Anyways, the wisdom of cliches is all about pattern recognition. The wisdom of cliches is all about pattern recognition. If something keeps happening, it should tell you what it is, how to identify it, and understand how it will behave in the future. People can tell you who they are with words, but they prove it to you with actions. Within ourselves, we have our own spots. Things that we do that others identify us by and understand us by. Should we choose, we can change characteristics in some way, just the same as we can change our appearances in some way. And they range in difficulty from getting a haircut to losing a bunch of weight or putting on a bunch of muscle. I like to think of it as our ability to change is limited by our awareness. The more self-aware you are, the more you can modify your own characteristics. This is kind of self-evident by the fact that every social movement is centered around spreading awareness, because if you can grow the awareness about the issue, then socially you can change it. So the same thing is true on a societal level, it's true on an individual level. The more self-aware we are, the more we can change. And with that, you can go from being a leopard to whatever the hell you want. There's wisdom hidden in each cliche, which, when you understand this, makes for a fun game in life. Whenever you hear one, don't just hear it, but internalize it, think about it, understand it, pick it apart, and examine each individual aspect of it. It's like being handed a glass of wine. You know, become a cliche sommelier, smell it, savor it, sip it, spit it back into the glass, swirl it around a little bit, I don't know, whatever the hell they do. I'm not a sommelier, look at me. But anyways, get drunk on wisdom. Get lost in the cliche sauce, if you will. It's free, and you can play this game the rest of your life. Cliches have been around for a long time, and I doubt they're going anywhere anytime soon. Till next time, always, stay up to no good.